Hello and welcome to another Tuesday, and this one is the 16th of June 2020, and you're listening to ETN's Latte Lounge, and it's episode 6. I do hope you're enjoying what we're providing. I'm joined as usual by my lovely friends Pat BYRNE, animal communicator and channel, and the lovely Penny Arnold, niece of Sir Malcolm, and we're going to be giving you so much fantastic information today, all about health, healing, well-being, and I'm going to kick the ball rolling, even start it. And I'm going to tell you about hydrogen peroxide, also known as H2O2, and I'm just going to show you a book here because this is actually written by a medical gentleman, William Campbell Douglas, and this is still available on the net, from all the bookshops, as they say. I'm getting tongue-tied. All right, so I want to show you what I've prepared for you, and it's this. And you may say, well, what on earth is that? Well, I'm going to show you here what I have. I'm just going to move these bottles forward whilst I tell you that this is deionized water. And I know you'll all be able to read, but deionized water is cheap as chips. I think this cost me about £2.50. And then I have here, and this bottle also has some deionized water just decanted into it, save me lifting that whole thing up, which I'm going to do in a moment. So this is 12% hydrogen peroxide food grade. Everything that I'm going to reference and I will ever reference is always going to be food grade. And that means it's ingestible by us humans. Now, this large bottle here, I've had, gosh, I've probably had for 3 or 4 years. I can't remember when they outlawed 35%, but this is my last remaining bit of 35% hydrogen peroxide. And the governments, in their wisdom, have decided that we're not really capable of handling anything more. So we are now down to 12%, but it is still great, folks. And this also is very, very inexpensive. And I meant to look up the price I paid for this little guy. And I don't think it was much more than £10. It could have been a little bit more, but not much. So why have I got this and why am I going to show it to you? What I'm going to do is this little 100ml bottle, which I think I bought for 50p from Superdrug or any other travel shop that gives you these little travel bottles, and it's got a spray on top. I'm going to fill it with deionized water. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I use this as, I would call it a health spray. It's something I've introduced to a lot of people, including Pat. And Pat can tell you some of her own stories about, how she feels it's benefited her. And I'll tell you some of mine. So there we go. It's almost full. And this does not work very well, this combination, with fluoridated water. Hence it's deionized. It's stripped out of everything. And I will show you this other one. Here is one I made earlier. And I keep it in the kitchen. So this 100ml bottle, what I did with that is what I'm just going to do now. And here I'm going to use the 12%. So we take that top off and I'm just going to show you on a teaspoon. Often I'll put it into the top because I'm used to doing it. And I'm just going to show you literally how much I'll put in. So, okay guys, you can see what that is. Would you say that's half a teaspoon? Something like that, isn't it? Yeah. That may translate as about 4, 5, possibly 6 drops. And I'm literally just going to pop it in there. I'm going to put my spray top on. And that is my H2O2. And this, believe you me, lasts forever. And with these being so inexpensive, and you use a spray top, I'm just going to show you that it was new one. So there we go, it works. And that is fantastic for doing a lot of things. You can use it in the kitchen to clean, but I hope you wouldn't use the ingestible, the food grade. But I'm not going to fill that one, but sometimes I'll keep this size in my handbag or even a bit smaller, but I'll keep them, as you can see, this one says kitchen, in different areas around the house. So I can use it as and when. So the reason I got into using H2O2 was because, and I'll come back on camera now, because my sister has multiple sclerosis. And way back when, they thought, sorry, going to be a bit wobbly for a moment, they thought that oxygen was a fantastic thing to help in that condition. And indeed, in this book, I don't know, it's William Campbell or somebody else, but he certainly describes it in this book of a case of a gentleman with MS who had an 8-week period of receiving H2O2, and he was already slurring. I don't know if people know about multiple sclerosis. It's a neurological disorder. You begin to lose function, you begin to lose memory, you begin to lose your motor skills, that kind of thing. And my sister had a treatment in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, which was up in Grimsby in the north of England at some point. Now, that's what divers use when they decompress, when they come back up, if necessary. And that pushes the oxygen into your cells. It didn't seem to work for her. There's not much actually that did, but in this book there is a fantastic story, an account of a gentleman, maybe he was in his 40s, who, you know, he was really going downhill very fast, and after just 8 weeks of treatment with hydrogen peroxide, I think he had it intravenously, his life was back. He was driving because he'd stopped being able to drive, all kinds of things. So I do this. I'll show you me doing it so you know I've done it. I actually once, when I was going across into the States, I had it was a smaller bottle than this, a 50 ml, and I went in and they wanted to take it from me. And I said, no. I said, it's medicine. And they said, show me. And so I just had to go like, oh, there we go, bit on the face. Won't hurt. And it is amazing it's a bleach. So it is a bleach, but it's not the sort that you put on your hair, but it is similar. This you can ingest. So what this does for me, it has stopped me from going down the road of flus and colds. It has helped in so many different ways. And I've been using it probably for about 30 years. And the reason I wanted to share it with you today was because it's something that I tell people quite a lot if it comes up about health and wellness. And, you know, simply, it's so inexpensive for, let me just, if the H2O2 was about a 10 quid, and this is, you know, let's say it's a pound, if it was that much, and then you've got your £2.50 deionized water, which will last you forever, then, you know, this will cost you pennies. That's actually costing you only pennies. And it is amazing. If you want to apply it topically, you can. So if you cut yourself, you've got a burn, you can apply it topically. It will certainly help. And I'm not saying use it instead of, you know, I will say again, I am a practitioner of the regression therapy, quantum healing, as I would call it. I've also been around a lot of people who are nutritionists, who are use other modalities to help and heal. And so I've been exposed to a lot of different methodologies, including homeopathy, of course, as you've heard me speak about. And this is, and I'm always very interested because I've not had a life where there's been a lot of money available. So I've always been looking for inexpensive but incredibly effective ways of supporting ourselves that will not hurt you. Now, they will say in this book that if you take too much of this in a wrong dose, that you could cause yourself to have a disrupted stomach lining, that you could perhaps give yourself cancer. Yes, cancer. But listen to this. The dose that you've seen me do now, that is absolutely perfectly safe. And you can hardly even taste it. The H2O2 does have a particular taste. But let me also tell you that if you take too many aspirin, you will ruin your stomach lining. If you take a lot of medications, you will ruin your life. So guys, you've seen what I've done. You can use a pipette if you don't feel comfortable doing what I've just done. But this is available on the net, and who is it? It's Pure and More, and you can see that. And you know, it's available. You know, I've had it from the US as well. So it is an incredibly effective way of supporting yourself. And a couple of times, well, not a couple of times, a few times, I've had an ear issue or been so blocked or compromised in the breathing department that I've actually sprayed this up the nose. I've kind of put my head back, just done a couple of sprays, same in the ear if necessary. And it stings. I'll tell you, it stings a little bit for about 3 seconds in the nose. But let me tell you, within 2 minutes, 2 minutes, maybe 3, but no more, I'm breathing again. So, you know, you have to try this yourself. We can only show you, we can only advise. I'm not a medical person. I'm not prescribing anything for you. This is something that's available out there, and it has been written about, you know, a long time ago. There's lots of other material out there, but this is just interesting if you are new to it and you want to get a medic's perspective. So there's some amazing things, but I won't go into that all now. I will put the information about this at the bottom of the video, and you can tell me, please, if you try it. I would really like to know the sort of things that you've used it for. And I would, and I've also used it in animals, you know, put a drop, and I mean a drop, sometimes in my animals' water, and they've been fine with that. It does have quite a strong smell, so, you know, it may not work for your animal, and you need to take your own counsel about that. But I had to share that with you because this has been one of the main, if you like, mainstays of my being well and healthy over many years. And no, it didn't work for my sister, but everybody's different. And, you know, what we have to remember is that we are also coming into this life with different experiences to go through. And it was hers this life to experience the full gamut of that experience and to have a lot of love around her so she could experience it and in a state of safety and doing as well as she can. And, you know, this is the girl that says to me when I ring her up like I did today, "How you doing, doll?" And she said, "You know what? Absolutely fabulous. There's lots of people a lot worse off than I am." So isn't that lovely?
To come in, Joanna, I've used hydrogen peroxide as well, but I put it in my sea salt water that I use as a mouthwash after cleaning teeth. Or
absolutely, that too.
Yeah. And I go to the chemist. This is the Plus Well and that's where I buy it from, in the small bottles, and they have to go under the counter. It's not out with the mate. No, it's all on the quiet. They get the bottle out under the counter. It's so cheap, it's unbelievable, as you said.
Yeah.
And it's really, really excellent. And I swell my mouth out, and I usually swallow the salt water. And I don't put much in at all, like yourself, only a very small amount.
Well, that's right. And that one, Penny, the one that you have from under the counter, won't be food grade, but that it doesn't, you know what you're doing. You're used to using it. So I haven't used that for doing what you're doing, but you can, and this is the thing. And also it's great for teeth whitening.
Need that.
So now and again I will, spray my toothbrush with it and some perhaps bicarb if I'm not using my turmeric and oil paste. or other.
Well done.
So anyway, so Pat, I just thought it would be interesting because you've had now, since you've been here with me, some experience of the H2O2, and perhaps you could just give us a quick, quick overview of what your feelings are about it.
Yeah, well, after you recommended it to me, because I was having problems with my teeth and my gums, and actually at one point had a really bad infection in one of my teeth. So I think I started using it primarily for that. I can't remember, but that normally, if I do get that problem, it reoccurs from time to time because I've got to have some serious dental work done. So in the meantime, I'm maintaining what I've got. So it works really well for that, and I do use it probably every other day, depending on if I feel there might be a bit of a cold coming on or something like that. I do what you do, and if it's starting to really threaten, I'll do it up my nose as well, and that usually sees it off. But yes, it's great, and I have used it on, you know, like little skin problems as well. Yeah, and as a mouthwash. So I think it's a great first aider. I think it's a great thing to have on as a preventative.
Yes.
Where
Well, I have to say, I mean, I have succumbed every, you know, now and again, like we do too, you know, the cold or the flu or the whatever, but you know, it's very rare. So I think that is because I'm just very proactive in my own regime. And I know you are now, Pat, I don't know if you were before, but, you know, I know you're very aware, and certainly Penny. And doesn't that sort of bode well for us? Because, you know, even if we do come down with stuff, we tend to recover a little bit faster. You know, and we have a little bit of a tool chest with which to, you know, support ourselves. And you know, this is why I'm you know, started doing this sharing, because you know, these things are not expensive, as I said, and they're available for everybody. And you know, it's just common sense how you use them. And you know, anybody's got any questions, they can certainly ask. So, Penny, you do carry on.
Sorry, was that me?
Oh yes, sorry, because I know you were going to talk to us about the salt pipe, which was great.
Yeah, it's little holes, got sea salt in. Now, the sea salt, as we know, is the cleanser, the healer, and the protector. And I knew, I've known for a while now, that breathing in sea salt nanoparticles, tiny, you know, particles, can help airways, especially if anybody's got CPO, what do you call it now? COPD, that's how I get it right. I'm catching whatever Joanne's got. And also asthma, sorry about that. You know, any breathing difficulties. And I looked online and saw an advert for a salt pipe, Cisca, C-I-S-C-A, and which was ceramic and all very posh, nice, and not too expensive, a lot cheaper than Holland and Barrett, because they're very small anyway, at least they sell them. And it comes with its pink salt, but I think any good quality sea salt would be okay. You know, it doesn't have to be the pink salt. And a friend of mine, it stopped her going to hospital. She'd got some chest infection, and which was great. And then a friend of mine who's been staying here while, you know, that told me about the crystals. He's quite inventive. And he said, well, we can make one out of a plastic bottle, and you've got a screwdriver, look, screwdriver, put some holes in the bottom, not that many, a few, put the salt in it, and then you just breathe.
So could you show that to the camera again, Penny? I didn't quite get a good look at it. So that's just got salt in the bottom, and so air's coming through the bottom, just so I understand correctly, and then you...
Okay. Make holes in it.
Okay.
Like a few.
So there's no fluid in there or anything. It's just the pure dry salt.
Salt, sea salt. This is the coarse granules from it. I've got to get the. Oh, I'm not really good at this camera, am I?
You're doing brilliantly.
The coarse granules of salt.
So there we go. The salt going in.
Yeah, and then literally just breathe through the.
Oh, okay. Do you know what? I'm going to try that. Thank you, Pens. That's great. So that's the equivalent of so you're breathing in, and then you breathe out.
Yeah, just breathe through the salt.
Breathe through it, and then breathe out. Okay, I'm breathing with you. I'm trying to breathe. Find myself.
About £11, £10.50 plus your postage and packing. And what is good is, you know, when you make anything yourself, using your hands, you put your energy into it.
Oh, Pens, I do like you, honestly, for sharing all of that stuff, because it's true. And you know, you forget to add these things. It's all part of the frequency, guys. So, yay! How powerful are we?
Absolutely. And also, obviously, the honey. I think you're going to bring that in, weren't you? The raw.
Oh, yes. Again, perhaps we could just bob over to Pat once again to talk about the raw honey, because we've got a kind of a case right on right on point, because Pat's had the use of it for about a week now, and then she had a little issue with a finger, a bit of infection. So I'll hand that over to Pat to just share her experience.
Yeah, I've been taking it for about a week. It's only been something like a heaped teaspoon every day, because I haven't got much supply at the moment. I've just ordered, so it was a little bit of a trial. But I sort of started to feel a lot better just on that after about, I don't know, a couple of days, and then my energy really soared as well. I was also taking another supplement, which may have had something to do with it. So I'd have to come off one or the other to prove it, I guess, because I started on at the same time. What was the other thing?
Can you tell us what the other thing was that you started?
It's called chlorella.
Chlorella.
And it's an enzyme. You probably know it, don't you, Penny?
I do. Blue-green algae, chlorella, very good.
Yeah, and it's very good for the gut, the intestinal tract, as I understand it, which I am always keen to look after, because I've got a history of bowel cancer in my family. Not that I'm anticipating anything, but I just know it's an area that I need to look after. And I also take sea greens as well. So I have sea greens, chlorella, and then the honey mixed in quite a wad of yogurt in the morning, and possibly a banana as well, or some fruit or something, but usually a banana. So that's sort of like my breakfast, because I'm not very good at taking like lots of toast and stuff in the morning, and that keeps me going to about lunchtime actually.
But you said that. Sorry,
I've noticed that my appetite's increased.
Good.
And I have got quite a small appetite, but I've noticed it a lot over the last couple of days. So, that's good. I'm not saying I was under eating, but I eat little amounts frequently. I've always done that. But I actually feel like I've been doing some exercise, which I have, because my energy levels have gone up to the extent that I was actually able to lift some really heavy bags of cat litter up the stairs.
Cat litter?
Unbelievably heavy.
12 kilograms. like they're like sand. And Yodel left them at the bottom of our stairs that got to the flat, which is 30 stairs. And I looked at them at the bottom and I thought, oh God. And I thought, oh well, I'm going to have a go. And I did it. And then I had to do the 20 stairs upstairs.
Upstairs inside, yeah.
So I couldn't have done that a week ago. I know I couldn't have done it, because it really, it's quite physical, tough work. So, that I just realised that my strength had come back, because when I used to run the cattery, I was on Maximal and Revenol, which is a new wage product, and that kept me going. I had a Revenol was, the antioxidant, which, took all the rubbish out, and Maximal was the one that input all the vitamins and minerals. So I've always been very aware of nutrition, but having come away from New Wage because they changed their formulation, I've never really been able to find a good nutritional supplement, a balanced supplement toolkit, if you like, because those two really did it for me, those two products. So recently, going back to the finger, I noticed that my finger was swelling at the side. I must have knocked it, or might have been on the litter bags, you never know. But I knocked it, and then it started swelling. And I've had this once before, and I didn't want it to travel up my finger, so I immediately spread the H2O2 on it, and I put raw honey on it.
In fact, we bandaged it, didn't we? We created a little bandage of raw honey, and put a plaster over it, in which you think probably had on for a few hours.
But I also took what I would take normally if I have dental problems. I took silica, and because it was throbbing, I took belladonna.
Oh yes, and I gave you a lycopodium before.
You gave me another one. So I went to bed pretty topped up.
Brilliant.
Slept like a log. So,
and how's it feeling today?
Yeah, well, it's not throbbing. I mean, you can see the infection, but the infection, I don't think it's spreading. It's just there. It's just waiting to.
Yes, it's a tiny little bit. I mean, when you said, "Oh, it's just there," I had to really look. So
I know, but I mean, I've had the last one. I had went right up my finger. It was very dangerous, and the doctor refused to lance it. So I dealt with it myself, but it was horrible. It went on for about a month, and it was travelling up my finger, and I lost all the skin right up there.
Yeah.
So that was quite serious. But so I was aware of that. I thought, now I want to knock it, you know, before anything happens.
So far, so good. So folks, raw honey, H2O2, taking action. You've got to take action.
Vitamins, supplements to keep your immune system going as well, whatever suits you.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Penny, perhaps we could just come back to you and the salt pipe. Because I haven't looked into this, is there a recommendation of how often you would do that, or for how many breaths, what that situation would be?
I looked at it on the internet about the Cisco salt pipe that was for sale. You know, there was some recommendation for something, but I can't quite remember this exactly, for just say 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening.
Okay.
That's about all really. But what is interesting is that some therapy centres, such as in Lancaster, which isn't that far from where I live, there's something called the Wellness Centre, Reset Wellness, and they have a salt room where you can go in and breathe in the sea salt particles are put in the air conditioning, and you can breathe in the salt while you're there, and you're there for an hour. And the thing is, don't wear any dark clothes, else you'll come out all covered in salt. But it's brilliant, and that is a therapy from Europe, the Korean franchise. I know I've talked about this before, because there was one in Liverpool, called from Korea, and it's well known. You see, obviously it's much more well known in Europe than it is in this country. But when it's so good to be able to make your own.
Of course, I mean, what a wonderful idea. That's absolutely great.
I would never have thought of it, because it's simple. You know, keep it simple, silly kiss.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm definitely going to try that, and I'll report back.
Yeah, can I just have a word about the honey, because I just put a plug in for that fantastic book by Ruth Tan, T-A-N, Ruth Tan, Honey as Medicine. And it really is super. It's inexpensive. It's not again.
Put a link to that at the end of this video. I've already left a link in an earlier episode, but I'll do that again, because, you know, these are, yes, you pay more for your raw honey than you would for an off the shelf from Tesco's or whatever, but I'm telling you, it is so worth it. And I too think that I could say that it's increased energy and better quality. Definitely. And also, I think the other thing I noticed, I don't know if I said this before, was that I feel there's more elasticity in the muscular layers. So less stiffness. Not that I was stiff, but, you know, you every now and again, you know, you'd get up from a certain position and I would expect that slight stiff. No stiffness. So that I can attribute absolutely to the raw honey.
Can I just say, one of the things that honey does help tremendously is the pituitary gland, which is damaged by heavy metal and aluminium, you know, and mercury and whatever. And that is just the best thing that I've really found out about, is that pituitary gland obviously being your master gland, and that can affect all your hormones, thyroid, you know, all of them, because they all work together, you know, all the glands work together.
Yes.
And it has a very, very great effect. But reading the book, it's the lady that wrote it, Ruth Tan, had a very, very serious medical problem that the doctors couldn't help, and she found out that she needed at least 2 tablespoons of raw honey a day, or so a lot. And what I found out with dowsing, I can find out how many teaspoons say I need in the morning. I have 4, because I've been well damaged with mercury, as you know, I was born with it. Yeah. And it's gone now, thank God. And somebody else I checked out, they needed 3. So it all depends on the level of healing that your pituitary gland needs.
Yeah, and, that's interesting. I think I started taking maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons, and then I kind of upped it to a tablespoon. And sometimes I'll have that twice a day. So I haven't actually, you know, tried to douse or gauge, but I just, you know, I do have some mercury left in my mouth, so, you know, I'm aware of that. And also, you know, I'm trying to develop a lot of other work, and I don't want to be compromised energetically. So, I'm just aware, I'm just giving my body and my brain the best chance possible of functioning.
Which brain are you talking about, Joanne? You've got
Oh,
one in
yeah.
your...
Oh, well, yes. Well, that one, I'd forgotten about the heart brain.
And the gut brain, they all work together. We are magnificent beings, aren't we?
We are magnificent beings. And I didn't get any figures, and perhaps I'll do this another time, or you probably know this better than I do, Penny. And that is how much more electricity the heart generates than the brain. And those, gosh, I wish I had written that down. Anyway, I'll come back to that on another show. But that was extraordinary. I had no idea that the heart was energetically so energetic, much more energetic, let me say, compared to the brain.
It's enormous. It sends more information to the head brain than the other way around, and it actually links in with the energy of the earth.
Oh, yes.
Because this is how powerful it is, and there's so much on the internet now. In fact, I think I did have a book. I may have shown you this last time. I can't remember now. Me and my the Quantum Healing Code, Stephen Lindstedt.
No, I don't think so. Quantum Healing Codes, is that?
Quantum Healing Codes, and it's all to do with the heart. It's all to do with the brain, the heart of health, the principles of physical health and vitality. He's the founder of the Scalar Heart Connection.
Oh, lovely.
Scalar is earth energy, and that's what a heart is.
Yes.
It's actually linked totally in with the planet's energy field, which is why when I look at the dowsing I do, and I look at somebody's heart brain, or, I'm getting a huge, if they are switched on and they've got the self-love there, a really enormously high reading out of this dimension, because that's where this is why the dark ones have been trying to suppress it all this time.
Yes. Oh, yes, and bless them, they're still having a good go.
Oh, tell me. But the more they try, the more we'll say no. We're not like that.
Absolutely. So we're going to have to take a short break shortly, but we will reconvene, ladies, and we will do our normal reconnecting. But I just wanted to see if we had time in this section for Pat to talk about her St. Francis of Assisi connection, because we were just linking with the animals again. And I was hoping to do a little bit of pets in the afterlife, but I think that might be for another show, because I'd like to reference a couple of videos about that. So Pat has had experience, and we've talked about that before, but I don't know if we've mentioned the St. Francis of Assisi connection, Pat. So perhaps you could give us a little insight there.
Yeah, we've got 3:30 left, so I think I should be able to do it in that. But if I fade off into the distance, don't worry. Yes, it's headed equality, and it was channeled by St. Francis of Assisi, and obviously it's about our connection. This is about our connection with animals, and how they connect with us and how we connect with them. So he says, and to man's soul cometh his healing, for when he connects to his soul, he is at his core, and when he reaches that core within, and through his own deep mindfulness, then he is complete. So man has to find his own stillness to hear the message of his soul within, to find his inner peace and his soul mission and purpose. Now is the time for man to find his peace within, and with the help of the animal kingdom, this can be felt at a very deep level. And as his unconditional love pierces the depths of his being, and the wisdom and insights enlighten him to his own glory, now he can become whole again, having been awakened by the wise ones, the animals that now give so much to man. But in that giving, man must be mindful not to overburden the beast that offers us so much unconditional love from his heart, which helps the healing of mankind. Now man must revere the animal that stands before him, who has such love bursting from his breast. Now man must respect the gift that animals present to him. But now there must be a balance and harmony between the two species, so there is equality in the interaction, and neither becomes a burden to the other. For in true unconditional love is freedom, and this freedom and respect for each other is important, because man can take advantage so easily unless he is mindful of his responsibility to the animal's forgiving and loving nature. So no advantage must be taken, just great thanks and appreciation of the gifts that are shared by both man and beast. Then harmony and respect will remain intact in this wonderful and loving act of service that each can give each other. Be mindful, dear ones, of your responsibility to yourself, the animals, and indeed the earth that you tread on. Treat all with love and respect. Tread lightly on your journey on earth. Lovingly live each hour of the day and become the awakened conscious being that now brings their own light to the world.
Well, Pat, that was absolutely wonderful. This is going to shorten in a second, so I'm going to email you girls back and we shall continue.
Okay.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Not much.
Hello, everyone. So we're just going to pick up on Pat's St. Francis of Assisi channeling, which I think is very beautiful. And, you know, these days we need to hear this kind of material. So, Pat, could you perhaps just continue with what you were doing, saying, because it was lovely.
Yeah. Now man's responsibility to the animal kingdom is paramount as he becomes aware of the great gifts bestowed upon him by the animal's sacred trust in mankind. Now this trust must never be broken or misused, for if this were the case, man himself would become misused. So it is in this knowing, it is in this respect for each other that honour lies. And now we honour all who accept and live by this code of conduct to ensure the future harmony of man and beast who share your wonderful planet. May all species go in peace. Now pray for peace, and then peace will reign and lie in the hearts of man and ultimately the world. And then there should be world peace on this sacred planet.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Thank you very much, Pat. And look, I put Pat's contact details at the end of episode 5, and I'm sure that if I did that again, Pat, if people were interested, they could perhaps have a copy of that if they want.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do that again. It's just nice to share. You know, if you wanted, it's available. So we were just talking before, Penny, about the dowsing and how you've been noticing the change in frequency, and I would love you to just speak to that, because the planet is going through incredible changes. I mean, it has been going through, you know, for a long time. But can you share with us your specific dowsing orientated insights into what you feel is actually happening? And I know we've touched on this in the past, but I think you know, an update would be great.
Yeah, super. Yeah, amazing. And I've got my scribbled bits of paper that I do keep in a file. But
that was all a blur, Penny, by the way.
My hieroglyphics. 5th of the 1st, this is January this year, and I've put here very, very important. After the eclipses and astrology alignment, etc., the dark entities seem to have left their hosts. I put here Eureka with a big exclamation mark. I put here one of the heart blasts to lift the dark energy this morning, and I even checked Pepe Orsini, the Grey Pope. I hope I'm not
okay.
Anybody, but the Grey Pope, and he had dark energy 2 days ago, but none now. And I have, you know, fantastic. I've put here time to celebrate. Also, the collective consciousness of humans on the planet rose I got here from 80% to 100. This is brilliant.
Really? And what? That was today, Penny?
This was in January.
Oh, sorry, in January.
Going on then, you know, with the eclipses. I think there were two, and there was a lunar eclipse in the southern hemisphere, and I think there was a lunar, you know, I mean, Joni Patry would know more than me. But
I don't remember, you know, that far back of.
No, I don't have a job to remember yesterday because what's going on. But this was really, really important. When light workers switched on with good 5G. Right, yeah. Us light workers who are switched on with a good protection against the frequencies, which is 4 and the 5G, are now have gone up into another dimension. This, I put here, the last part of 2019 this happened. So it's a very important time. And I know people with more knowledge of the earth energies and also the astrology would know why, but all I'm looking at is the actual evidence.
The frequency reading, yeah.
My readings, yeah, amazing, because I'm talking about me checking out beings who aren't strictly human, that had dark entities possessing them, not just attached. So it means their soul walks out, dark energy, huge, you know, enormous, and that just seemed to, all of a sudden, it wasn't anymore, that it had gone. I mean, it's just amazing. So when I check anybody through now, and if I feel like, and I say there's no judgment, these dark entities could come into anybody who may have been addicted to something, alcohol, flesh foods, and low immune system, not enough sea salt in the body, low self-esteem. Yeah, they could come in very easily. And knowing, you know, after that certain date, you know, sorry, what I have to do now is go back to this time last year.
Oh, right.
When I'm checking to see what they did have.
Yeah, yes.
Around them, you know, a year ago, because it's just not there now. And it's interesting to see that was an absolute huge hike up in our collective consciousness of humans, which I think is one of the reasons why all this scamdemic, as I call it, has been created to push us down, because the last thing they want is for us to know who we are, you know. And I'll just pick out, if that's okay, what I have taken time as the months and years have gone by to change what I look at in anybody that I'm doing a dowsing profile for.
Yeah.
And I remember when you sat in front of me, Joanna, when you came up to the northwest here a few months ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was back in December.
Yeah, so I've got your dowsing here, but I won't go through it because
well, if there's anything that you think would be useful for people to know, and you know, and because I know you've checked up, you know, in recent times, and you said there's been changes. So, you know, hey, look, I'm happy.
I'll tell you what, man, because I've got a date here. When I looked at you, you were here on the 29th of November.
Right.
2019. Yeah, last year. And I remember going through quite a lot of things.
You did.
With you, yeah. And it would be interesting to see the changes now, because we have gone through that experience of having, you know, such as, let's see, you know, dimensions. I got here the number of dimensions you're in was 6. The Mercury, your light body, was wonderful, 60%, and then even more. So, you know, you're 40%. You've got indigo and some crystalline, a lot of crystalline DNA, which was brilliant. So I could see exactly like sacred light, sacred fire, sacred consciousness. Fantastic. It'd be interesting to see, because the sacred consciousness, the view, which was amazing, was out of this dimension. And so many people have a belief system outside themselves, which is, you know, okay for them, that's their pathway, you know. And I must say again, I'm not judging. There's some sort of good and bad, it's just what is.
Yeah.
And with yourself, you were really incredible, out of this dimension. And sacred light and sacred light was 80%, the 11's the 8, the infinity. Sacred fire was 100, so you got that feisty. Up on that, A lot of people the other way around. They've got this lovely gentleness, the sacred light, the feminine, the yin, but the sacred fire is so low. It happened to a lady I know is a wonderful artist. She paints extraterrestrials, she paints gurus, she paints crystals, she paints incredible things, but she's never pushed her skills forward to make money out of it, you know, because we all need. And when I checked her out, yeah, she got that lovely gentleness, but a sacred fire, when it's best if it can be balanced, was low. And so with yourself, you know, that was fantastic to see. But what I could do is just go through the various things I look at. If you,
yes, I think that would be very interesting for people, because
okay.
when Penny says she did
anybody, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that when just to preface that, what you do is, you know, what Penny does is an incredible amount of work, and it's incredibly detailed. And this took, I don't know, was it an hour and a half or more to
yeah, it didn't take that long, probably 10-15 minutes to actually it's talking about it, and it's great.
Oh yeah, but actually going through all the different layers, I seem to recall it was, you know, it was very, very in depth. And so this is not some kind of little you know wish thing. This is real intense look at the energetics of you, or in this case me. And I don't mind putting myself up there, because I'm hoping that Penny's going to actually find some reading in me that has gone beyond what I was back in 6 months ago, actually. Yeah,
and then perhaps next Tuesday, and if there's a few minutes spare, if I'm on again,
yeah,
I can
of
just
course, yes.
Yeah, because
that
obviously
would be very interesting.
Yeah, magic. Well, obviously everything's self-taught. I've never had a lesson in this at all. And the other thing I was going to say is that none of us we're all special, but not one of us is more special than anybody else. We could all do this. It's rather like the church saying you have to have an exorcist to get rid of the dark. You don't. We can do it. Yes. We can do it all. And it's obviously everybody has their own pathway, and what is good for one won't be the same for another one. Which is fantastic, and we all work together. We're all fitting in like a team, you know. And I just find it fascinating to see the pulses in my finger. The left hand, always a left hand. You know, it's all I feel when I've asked my question, or in the mind, I can do it out loud. Yeah. And then the pendulum moves, and I literally am rock solid. I don't move. I sometimes don't breathe, and I just watch it. And it still fascinates me now. So I look at, first of all, and it can be anybody, anywhere in the world, and any timeline going back in history. Forward, it's difficult because consciousness creates, you know, our reality. So I don't have to know the person at all. I just want their name. It's good to have a birth date, but I don't have to. Physical body first. And this poor lady I've just looked at has got muscular dystrophy. She's got really, you know, 30-40% physical body. Yours, Joanne, was great. 75 went up to 80, a bundle of energy. So that's good. 80%, fantastic. The next thing I look at is emotional body, because the heart rules the emotions. And yours, amazing. Same as I've got a chappie here I know is very lovely, gentle chap as well. Dimension, out of this dimension. It's 180 degrees on my chart. Fantastic. And the opposite is obviously people who have got low self-love, and I don't get a reading at all. It's nothing.
Did you find that for the person with the MD, with muscular dystrophy?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And also another lady who got dark energy into her as well. This was, yeah, I did. But then with the difference between the one with the dark energy last year, and it still has that programming in them, even if the energy's gone. I asked next, if I don't get a reading, what could it be if the heart chakra wasn't down, you know, the heart energy center? And then if I get a reading, fantastic. And if I don't, I think, I say there's something going wrong here. And then I ask for a soul contract or soul agreement achievement. And if I don't get anything for that, then that's bad news. But I was saying with yourself, and so anyway, let's go on emotional body. Then I asked for self-love, which is the big deciding. It really is. It's so important. Yours was great. Fantastic. And this poor lady was nothing when with the muscular dystrophy, no self-love at all. She's nearly having to have a hoist to get her out of bed, apparently.
Yeah.
Nothing. No, well, hang on, sorry, it's 10%.
Yeah.
Right.
And I must say, I did struggle with all of that kind of sensing in my earlier years, and it's been quite intense work to rebalance that. So it isn't something that, you know, suddenly there she is, she's at this, you know, higher level of reading, you know, meaning myself. It's taken a lot of developmental work over years of clearing, being willing to clear my darkness, my shadows. And I'm not saying they don't come in now and again, those, you know, as I really get fed up or whatever, and I have to, but I'm very, very conscious these days, and now and again I'll just say, okay, I'm going to let that run. I'm just going to let myself experience feeling absolutely peed off, for whatever reason, you know, has created that, or I can hoik myself out of it much faster than I would in years past. But it has taken a lot of work to have a resting, if you like, resting vibrational frequency that rests higher, and I know that I can feel it for myself now, which is great.
Yeah, no,
it's not work anymore.
And it is so important. And then I asked for the self-knowledge. Now that is a key.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. What was my reading on that? I really
let me have a look.
Self-knowledge. Not sure.
Knowledge.
So you're getting all my secrets, everybody.
No, it's better than a lot of other people, I can tell you. It's good. It was just a slight higher than the Freemasons when because their self-knowledge is high. But yours is more, it's even higher, which I think is fantastic.
Right. Oh wow, okay.
Again, all I say is on most people is read the book by Barbara Marciniak called Path of Empowerment, or even Keepers of the Light. But Path of Empowerment is the best because it tells us exactly who we are. And that, as David Icke said, is so important.
So that's the Path to Empowerment.
Path of Empowerment by Barbara Marciniak.
Right.
She channels the Pleiadians.
Yeah. I'll put a link, everybody, to that book.
Then I look at the soul contract achievement level. Yeah. Now I was looking, and yours is good because anybody with low self-worth, not knowing who they are, low immune system, and so on, their soul contract achievement is low. Even though they may be elderly or they've got, they've been through all sorts of stuff, it's so important. 30% of our soul agreement is to love ourselves unconditionally.
All right.
So it's so important. So anyway, I look at that. Then the next thing I look at is subtle energy body, which like the aura, our subtle energy.
Yeah.
I used to go through all the different colours, and I don't do that now. I did find out that the gold and silver energy that came in, gold was more linked to a female and silver the male. So gold was the highest, really, the female. But what I look at now is just the pink heart energy, the pink heart. And I'm looking at a friend of mine, John, who's, again, 180 out of this. He's got such a good heart. And yourself, I'm sure that was the subtle energy body. Yeah, John, I've got it. Out of this dimension, so you're really well connected, and that tells me a lot. And then I look at DNA, how many strands or codes are switched on, and if there's only, then I get the patterns appearing, with the low self-love, the low soul contract, no pink heart energy. Perhaps this time last year may have been dark energy, and who knows. And the DNA is always 2 strands. It's knocked back. And I think that the frequencies are helping to do that as well, not back into the DNA. When we've been switching them on, and what did I say in John? DNA 24. I'm getting a number of 24. With yourself, I think it was slightly, not bad though. 16 with yourself. That was back in November. So what it is now, I really don't know. And sometimes I'm just looking at numbers, not really absolutely certain, because what they are. There could be certain codes within the strands. But there again, time, I'm looking at so much, you could go into so much detail. I'd never go to bed, and I need my sleep. So anyway, that's very good for yourself. Then I look at psychic ability, wow, with this chap John, who I know, it was out of this dimension, so psychic. And yourself, psychic ability is 70%. Fantastic. That's probably gone up. And the poor lady with the muscular dystrophy, I didn't look. I was just hurrying this morning. Psychic ability, yeah, very low. So that tells me a lot. And it also, then I look at sometimes stress, because stress in the can cause acidity in the body.
Yeah.
And that is, we're coming on to the pH in a minute or two. Stress, physical, and then emotional. That is the big one. Physical body can cause stress, but a lot of people can cope with that. I think with yourself it was quite low. Let's have a look. Stress, can't find it. See, I don't have a pro forma because quite a lot of people.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, to be honest, without going and listening or looking again. But
the thing it leads into is the EMF pollution, the protection, and the pollution I'm seeing now is huge. It's huge. I must try and go into it more detail about, because everybody's saying about 5G being switched on, but I know there's been a hike up in EMFs anyway from what I suppose was 4G, I don't know, or it is really enormous. It is so damaging to the body because it shuts down our cellular membranes and the mitochondria as well as something that is, you know, needs a bit more understanding than I've got. But protection, when the self-love, this is what I saw with people with high self-love that was out of this dimension, it switched on that inner power, and that's your protection for.
Yes, I was going to say yes. I thought you said that at another point, that very high self-love will create an automatic protective shield or bubble around you against the 5G and those other nasties.
The smartness, yeah. What was interesting, it was about a year ago perhaps that I noticed that, and it linked in with the Earth going up in its dimensions as well, you know, expanding the tectonic plates and so on. That whereas before anybody could reach that 80, the lovely, you know, I love the 8, don't you, the lemon state, the power of 8. That was high enough for them to switch on this protection. And then all of a sudden I found, hang on, it's not working. What does it need? Out of this physical dimension. And that's just a sudden change. Wow. Which I found very, very interesting.
And do you know when that sudden change happened?
I have to look back through my you know, my file.
I mean, and that's interesting too, isn't it? Because you just wonder if there was, you know, a coronal burst. Was there, you know, something that gave a lot of boost to the energetic field? That you know, I mean, who knows? I'm only putting.
Could have been. It could be this Schumann resonance spiking high, because that's gone up a lot with the Earth. You know, the Earth. Yeah. Anyway, what I look at then, that's right, detoxability. Now this is where I saw the pattern when anybody protected. Their detox, cellular detox was 18%. I've got the magic 8 again. Anybody who's not, I got 22, 20. I keep getting these numbers. I see them on my chart. The 20, and that is low. So anybody with the good cellular detox, they won't have hardly any harmful chemicals in them. They can get rid of aluminium from the chemtrails. Mercury is more difficult, but at least they haven't got any of the harmful chemicals, which are, you know, shocking. We're swimming in 3 of them up. But anybody with low detox, and also the dark beings who have been put in positions of power and control on the planet, they are toxic up to the gunnels.
Well, no surprise then.
No love, they've no compassion, they can't love themselves, they can't be true to themselves, so they're not true. Truth and integrity is something I look at with the ones that are in the position of power, not anybody else, you know. I mean, but if they're not true to themselves, how can they be true within the job or the role they're playing? But it seems as though the dark entities needed a toxic body with no sea salt to get in, you know, and low self.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting, as you said on one occasion anyway, about how the salt intake is always, you know, dumbed down. No, you don't need so much salt. And I've noticed, and I've followed my own tastes that I like a lot of salt, and that seems to be from a small child. I was always asking for more salt. Isn't that interesting?
Salty crisps we used to have, bags of crisps,
Yes.
little blue packets, and it was sea salt.
Oh, really? Sea salt.
Table salt is poison.
Yes, not the table salt, folks, not the, I forget, oh dear.
Refined, yeah. We need sea salt, and it is why we've been told and lied to for 40 years now to lower salt. They've even built a low salt industry. The mind control is just, and that is one of the reasons. One, because sea salt expands your consciousness. I think I may have mentioned this before about the scenes living by the Dead Sea. And the other thing, every solution in our body is salty. We have an ocean within us, and it is so important. Now, what was really, really good, and I think yours was really brilliant. You've got the right number of sea salt. On my chart, it's 40%. But this is what was interesting. The next thing I look at is magnesium. And funny enough, I've just found this, look at this.
Magnesium deficiency. Oh, yeah. Funnily enough, I pulled out a little pamphlet I found today.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Natural medicine.
Natural medicine. Okay. Magazine.
Brilliant. Is this from New Zealand, I think, natural medicine? Yeah. New Zealand Journal. I used to pick it up at Ian Crane's AV conferences as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know it was helpful for cancer. But what was so amazing, and then again, because we've all been dumbed down about this, when I asked, what does this person need for their optimum health? And I get a reading, you see, because everything exists in this quantum holographic, whatever it is out there,
yes.
0 point energy field. And I was so surprised to see my pendulum go around to 80%. We need double the amount of magnesium as sea salt, and it is essential for health. And in actual fact, I think I saw something recently as well that magnesium can help with autism and dementia and sort of things that's, counteract these.
The connectivity of the brain.
Yeah. So magnesium is so important. And I say about the flotation, of course they have been shut, haven't they? These I don't even want to think about it, but they will be open soon. But the flotation is the best. It costs, £30 or something worth it, even if you have one every couple of months, It's only a few cups of coffee a week. But then Epsom salts in the bath, or the foot bath. So, okay, well, the next thing I look at is, I could go on. Immune system, lymphatic system, digestive system, heart and circulation, vagus nerve. I look at that very much now, and I didn't used to do that until I learned about, you're right. Okay. Get a glass of water. I didn't even bring these in until I'd read those books, the 4 books that came into my consciousness. And I learned about the vagus nerve is damaged by heavy metal and mercury, and it is imperative that all of us, even if we've got, I've not honestly come across that many people who have, you see, me as well, my vagus nerve was 20%, even though I got all my mercury replaced safely in 2003, because once it's harmed, it's harmed.
Oh, right.
You see, but
okay,
but it can be revitalized, and it's really interesting learning about it. There's lots online, the vagal system.
Yes.
It's a system in the body. And it can, and of course, laughing and gargling and
the humming.
Oh yes, the humming. Oh gosh, yeah, the humming, absolutely, especially if you hum at the heart chakra. Can help it. I remember saying before the coffee enemas, but I haven't done that yet.
Yes, I don't think I'm ever going to be doing one of those, but I'll work on the self-love.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I look at the spleen, and most people, again, even John, who's not only in his late 40s, early 50s, low spleen, same as me, and it's all linked with the bonding with the birth mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's a very good article, and I've just sent it actually to Greece to a friend who's moved over there, by Philippa Denon, who's the birth trauma specialist, called Spleen, the Emperor of Organs.
Okay, I think you might have sent that to me at one point.
Yeah, it's excellent. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, the pituitary gland as well I look at, and that's so important, again, knowing now that it's damaged by the heavy metals and whatnot, and that can be helped with a honey. And then lymphatic system, that's very important. John's was very good because he does quite a bit of exercise, and I think I've talked about this before, about the rebounder.
Oh yes, yeah.
Rebounder.
So the rebounder is that small little mini trampoline that you can doink, doink, doink.
Yeah, yours is good, John. You've got 70% lymphatic system. That's last.
Oh really? That might have gone down a bit now. I haven't been to.
Oh, sorry. Before that, the pineal gland. Absolutely. Now, this lady who got muscular dystrophy, what has she got? Her pineal gland was very low. Very low. Now, whether or not she's on fluoridated water, I blooming hope not. I've got to phone up her husband, and it's so important, the pineal gland, and mainly, even if anybody's vagus nerve, spleen, pituitary gland's low, the pineal gland can be incredible, out of this dimension, because that's what it is. Yeah. And that's part of our consciousness, which obviously they're trying to dumb down, but yours was great. So yeah, heart circulation, yeah. Usually, if anybody's heart and circulation isn't good, they're low in magnesium. And
if their heart and circulation isn't good, did you say?
Good, yeah. It's so important. Yeah. So I see a connection there.
So hopefully, Penny, we can look at this again, and maybe, you know, next week we could also look at, you know, having a reread of some of my perhaps lower areas, or you know, I'm happy for people to know, you know, what changes there are, because, you know, it's nice to have a body, because people don't know me that well, you know, to see what you know, what changes there are, if any. And there may be some lower changes, you know, like the lymphatic system. I've not been doing exercise probably for ages, and I think I had been up until that point. So, you know, that might be down a bit. So it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, but that would be great. But look, we're running short of time now, but I don't want to cut this very important information off. So, you know, please let's continue.
Say a word about star seeds, because I did look at your star seeds, and that's something that I found that was fascinating, because we have, oh yes, sorry, the DNA. When people are, I call it DNA plus, it's our intergalactic DNA. We have DNA in us that's literally from all over the star systems and planets, which is why scientists are taught to call it junk, to see what it works. And we're linked with, you know, some of us haven't been on this planet Earth for very many, you know, many before. And we have Venus, you know, gosh, all the Andromeda, different, even Agartha, inner Earth. And I found that fascinating to find out, which you know, I love doing, actually, because I think that's how we met, actually, John, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it would be great. Maybe we can talk about that, you know, again, pick up with that next week, because I think that would be fascinating. But, you know, I really want Pat to come in and tell her story of how she was in the kitchen today. And I think this sounds like a title for a book, Pat, and if you're not going to use it, I am. and you were describing what you saw, and I don't want to preempt it. So do you remember you telling me what you saw? And this is for the second time in this house, my house, that you've seen something like this. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's always been in the kitchen.
Which is really interesting, which is not far from the front door.
No, I was just in the kitchen, and I just turned around to do something, like a quarter turn, and then out the corner of my eye I could see a big figure. To me that would be 7.5, 8 foot. To me it's big, and it's quite, you know, big that way and big that way. So to me that's an angelic presence. That's what I felt. And I don't know what precipitated it. I hadn't been really talking about anything like that today, or thinking about it. I was doing a boring job like filing, you know. I did a bit of channeling this morning, but I mean, I do that most mornings. So it was nothing, you know, there was nothing happening in the day. We think, oh, well, that would happen because we were talking about, but it wasn't. I think I was putting my fish in a cooker.
The catfish in the oven.
It's mundane. And I looked round and I thought, yes, that happened about a week ago, I think.
So that's quite interesting then, because it's almost like the energies around our environment, our immediate environment, perhaps are beginning to heighten a bit. Who knows? I don't know how to read that, but I thought that was beautiful. So An Angel in My Kitchen is a great title for a book, Pat, and either you use it or I think I might.
I think it's your house, you could use it.
I thought that was absolutely lovely, and yeah, absolutely lovely. And also talking about angels, I've got a slatted window because I've got a sort of gas in my kitchen. Part of the window is solid from the bottom, and then the uppermost, it's very unusual, probably very old fashioned. It's got glass slats, and you maneuver it, with a kind of attached stick. And so it opens them or closes them. And as I was going to close it, this is after Pat's incident, there's this feather, Pat. Don't know how that feather would have stuck itself onto the inner side of the slat of the window. So I forgot to tell you about that. So, angels and feathers and angels.
Yeah. And you did have one stuck on your wing mirror on your car for a long time.
True.
It didn't go, did it? It was just sitting there.
No, it stayed there throughout, a couple of trips. I don't know how it stayed. Well, ladies, thank you very much. This is absolutely lovely. I really feel it's been a great high energy session today, and hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope we'll see you next week as well, and we can continue. And Penny, definitely want to hear more on the dowsing, and it would be interesting to hear how you feel you've developed, registered or noted by your dowsing as a marker, through the difficulties that you've had and experienced. Because it shows us that there's a record that can be seen, of that. And I think that's very important, because a lot of times we, things are feelings, and those more subtle elements, we don't have ways to measure them very easily, not with just in everyday life. But anyway, so thank you very much from me. Thank you for listening, everybody. Penny and Pat, I don't know whether you just want to say a little goodbye as we finish up for this Tuesday, 16th of June.
Yes, bye, everybody.
Yeah, goodbye. Really great to be here again, and hopefully next week I'll have the chance. I've got a poem my mum wrote to read out.
Yes.
That
wasn't. Oh, yes.
England is a Garden by Ruth Arnold. It might. I don't know if it's online, but it's in the book that.
That sounds lovely. So maybe we can have your mum's. How lovely. Let's have that. The remarkable Ruth about your mum. How gorgeous.
In fact, I feel as I'm carrying on what she never had the chance to even do when she was alive.
And that's lovely. So maybe we can talk about some of our ancestral links. That would be very interesting.
This is the most important lifetime, this one.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, blessings to you, and enjoy, and please leave any positive comments.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Me too.